Welcome to Epifanes and our instructional videos on how to roll out Epifanes 2-part polyurethane primer and 2-part polyurethane yacht paint. Epifanes polyurethane primer is a 2-component system that is an ideal primer for surfaces showing small cracks, damage, irregularities, or where you have used filler. The primer comes in either semi-gloss white or semi-gloss gray. On a well-prepped surface, 1 to 2 coats will be sufficient. You'll notice when you open the can of primer that it hasn't been filled to the top. That's to make room for the curing agent you'll be pouring in. Be sure to pour the entire contents of the curing agent into the primer, or measure a small amount carefully, about 4:1 by weight. Now stir the mixture thoroughly. Once mixed, allow the primer to sit, giving it an induction time of 10 to 15 minutes. Now add the thinner. Thin the primer using Epifanes polyurethane brush thinner. A good rule of thumb is to thin the primer by 5 to 10%. In this scene, Jason has not measured the mixture and is relying on his experience for the proper mix. In this case, about 7%. Stir the thinner in completely. You are now ready to paint. Begin cutting in with a high-quality synthetic bristle brush. Once you have cut in, begin rolling the primer. Use a 4-inch multipren roller and matching roller pan. The multipren roller is basically a high-density foam roller with a rounded bullnose end. You'll notice that the bullnose, that is the end of the roller facing away from the roller frame, is always pointing toward the wet paint. Later in the video, when we apply the finish coat, you will see how the bullnose helps to avoid lap marks. As Jason rolls, a small section at a time, he is always working toward the wet paint. For even coverage, it is important not to overload the roller and keep the touch very light. It is also important not to get too far ahead of yourself when you're cutting in. This way you will always have a wet edge to roll into. The primer can be recoated in 6 hours and will be ready for sanding in 24 hours. Finish sanding of the primer should be done with 320 to 400 grit sandpaper. You're now ready to prepare for the finish coat.